FBI hostage negotiators seem to have extraordinary skills. They can connect with people who have done or are capable of doing horrible crimes, and they can stay calm in situations where wrong decisions can cost lives. However, the reality is that FBI agents, just like other professionals who must perform at a higher level, all understand one key thing. You will achieve amazing results when you correctly apply the most basic principles. It may seem obvious, yet we all ignore the fundamentals sometimes, and then we fail. For example, FBI agents used to follow the rational approach in negotiation. Tell us your demands and we'll do our best to fulfill them. You know, they try to create a win-win situation. But a few deaths showed that there's clearly something missing. And the missing puzzle was that in stressful situations, people don't make decisions based on logic but on emotions. So, considering this principle, they came up with a clever strategy called tactical empathy. And it worked, they saved a lot of lives. But here's another cool thing. We have all been using tactical empathy without even realizing it. For example, think about a time when you helped a friend calm down when he was angry or upset. Now, in this video, I will give you the framework to employ tactical empathy consciously and effectively. Mastering this skill will give you immense power over any social situation.
It's not easy. Butchering people's hard work. Physically and mentally, I don't think people realize you need to vent.
This scene is from the show Mindhunter. If you haven't watched it, FBI agent Holden Ford came up with the idea to interview serial killers to understand their mindset and what's behind those horrible actions. I chose this scene because it's an extreme yet accurate example of tactical empathy at work. Holden is listening attentively, it seems without judgment, and is really trying to gain insight about the killer's behavior. I also think that by using those insights to solve similar challenging cases, he's following the ancient Chinese concept. If you know yourself and your enemy, you will be prepared and successful in any battle. Now, if Holden can use tactical empathy with such individuals, we can definitely use it with everyday people, right? So tactical empathy is when you try to understand the feelings and mindset of another person, why their actions make sense to them, and how you can use that information to influence them. You don't have to agree with their values or beliefs. You don't even need to feel what they are feeling. We just keep our primary goal in mind, and everything we do is calculated to help us achieve that goal.
He makes you sick to your stomach, doesn't he?
Yes. There's nothing behind Kemper's eyes. It's like standing near a black hole. He thinks you're his friend. Which makes you a pretty great FBI agent.
Now, recently I have started using mind maps to learn new subjects, and it has helped me learn faster. And I thought that presenting the insights and techniques in this manner might be more effective rather than, using stock video clips. So I have prepared this mind map on how we can employ tactical empathy. Let's begin with two common mistakes we tend to make in social situations. The first mistake is losing our composure. Getting angry, upset, or judgmental will make people feel uncomfortable around us, and they won't share information. Now, even if we don't express these feelings, they can often sense it. Neuroscientists believe this happens because of mirror neurons. When we observe someone doing a task or showing emotions, our brains react as if we are doing or feeling those things ourselves. For example, when someone is smiling, the same areas in our brain are activated and we smile or at least feel better. Or if a work colleague is feeling angry, the rest will likely feel uncomfortable around him. So it's important to keep our cool during the conversation. We want to transmit a sense of calm, a sense that it's comfortable to talk to us. The second mistake is being overly empathetic. Often when we see someone feeling angry, sad, or upset, we try to feel the same because we think it helps. You know, we wallow in their negative emotions. But despite our good intentions, we are not actually helping. The reason is that since we are both in an emotional state, we are less likely to find a logical solution, right? So if we want to help them, we don't need to feel their emotions. Instead, we use empathy to understand what's behind those negative emotions so we can help them calm down and make smart decisions from now on. From now on. This means that we don't judge them or criticize them or make a list of how often they fucked up in the past. We just accept that we have a problem and always keep our focus on our goal. And our goal is to find a logical solution. Now, I know this is not easy. Most people, when facing a problem, have this default reaction to criticize and blame others, themselves, or even the fucking universe. And then what happens? That mindset clouds their judgment, so they end up saying the wrong things. What has helped me a lot in this case is reading psychology books. Having a general understanding of why people behave the way they do has actually helped me be more empathetic, less judgmental, and less angry. You know, I used to have anger issues. And I also have very low expectations of people. Now I will give you 3 powerful techniques that will help you deal with people and stay calm in difficult situations. The first technique is labeling. Labeling is when we identify and articulate what they are feeling in a subtle way. It's very helpful when people are upset because the last thing we want to do is ignore their emotions. So how can we apply it? First, don't start with using the pronoun I because it sends the message you are more interested in yourself than in them. Another issue is that you are taking responsibility for what happens next, meaning if you label their emotions wrong, it will have a negative impact on the interaction and you essentially took the blame. So we should start with the phrases like it sounds like, it seems like, it looks like, or it feels like. For example, it sounds like you are very upset about this situation. Or it feels like it meant a lot to you. The second step is to stay quiet and listen to what they have to say. And don't fall into temptation to explain how you made this observation. Just shut up and listen carefully. The second technique is creating the illusion of control. We all have preconceived beliefs about various issues, and we have convinced ourselves that this is the right way. Some beliefs are wrong, while some others are weak. Regardless, we will stick to these beliefs. The only difference is the effort we put into it. For example, religious and political beliefs are very strong, so we put a lot of effort to protect them. This is the reason why when you try to persuade someone, their automatic reaction is to resist hearing opposing arguments. And so we can argue all day long why their perspective is wrong, but would that work? No, it would make them even more persistent in their view. However, there is a simple way to reach anyone. We ask open-ended, calibrated questions that are designed to make them see the situation differently. Now, the key to asking calibrated questions is being clear on what our goal is. It might be changing a core belief, or it might be getting out of a difficult situation. Let me quickly explain each scenario. The first one is difficult. If my goal is to destroy a strong belief, then I won't tell him that I think their belief is wrong, stupid, or stuff like that. And since I'm not attacking his perspective directly, he won't put much effort to protect it, right? So I come up with questions that can lead him to the core of the belief and just plant some doubts. That's what I want to do right now. Plant the seeds of doubt. Then I constantly redirect their attention to the pieces of evidence or arguments that shake this belief. Eventually, that doubt will grow in his mind, and one day he will make a decision to just stop believing. And he will think that he came to this conclusion all on his own. The second scenario is getting out of a difficult situation. For example, if someone is venting, instead of being angry at them, we ask something like, "What is the best way to proceed from here?" Or if someone is making an unreasonable request, we simply ask, "How am I supposed to do that?" In both cases, we use a calm, sincere tonality. As we said earlier, we don't want to come off as sarcastic. In addition, we should avoid questions that have simple yes or no answers. And we should also avoid questions that start with why, like, "Why are you doing this?" The reason is that it sounds like we are making an accusation. Instead, we can frame it differently, like, "What caused you to do it?" This takes away the emotion from the question and shifts the responsibility somewhere else. Finally, we have a strategy which is a bit more complicated but incredibly important, and that is to seek the unexpected. No matter how smart and prepared you are, you will find yourself in situations where you are out of your depth, and you might feel overwhelmed by the fear of uncertainty and failing. Now, most people, including me, grew up avoiding these situations as much as possible, and we might have tried to control the future by thinking about ways it could play out. As a result, we didn't learn to tolerate uncertainty. This has severe consequences because without realizing, we are spending more time imagining things than actually doing things. However, from what I have observed is that the real situation is never more challenging than the one in your head. Because, think about it, what's the worst it can happen? You will feel uncomfortable or you might even fail. And then what? You will feel bad that you failed, but eventually you will get over it, right? So the pain you might experience is temporary. On the other hand, when you avoid facing those uncomfortable situations and you spend most of the time daydreaming, then the pain will last for a long time. Not only that, but you will also have 3 major problems in your life, especially in social situations. The first problem is that since you strived to control the situation, when unexpected things will happen, as they always do, you want to know how to react effectively because your judgment is clouded by fear. The second problem is that you become predictable. For example, when I debated someone, I tried to steer the conversation to where I felt confident. You know, where I had more knowledge or based on what I had already prepared in my mind. But those who paid attention realized my game and they flipped the conversation or framed my strength as a weakness. So I lost the debate or wasn't able to influence them. The third issue is that you started developing a massive ego and consider these failures as proof that you are a loser. So basically, when we strive to control the situation, we become more anxious and very predictable, which is the opposite of what FBI agents are. They are super adaptable, unpredictable, and take full advantage of the situation no matter whom they are dealing with. Now, how can we become like that? Well, first, don't connect your sense of self-worth with a certain skill. In this case, whether you succeed or fail at persuading people doesn't mean you're a winner or a loser. It's the same thing with other areas of life. Trust me, when you get rid of this massive weight, that even if you fail, it won't affect how you feel about yourself, then you will enter into social situations with a sense of calm. And as we said, you will transmit a certainty which will dramatically increase your influence. The next thing to do is uncover what you don't know. When you're persuading someone, they will give objections to your ideas, right? But those are just smoke mirrors. That's why we are attentive and we ask calibrated questions to uncover that hidden information, the real reason why they are not taking action. Just keep in mind that they might not even know what they are hiding or how important is the information they have. To sum up, we don't avoid uncomfortable situations because that leads to nowhere. Instead, we seek them, and that's how we become fluid, capable of adapting to any kind of situation. And we are not baffled when someone gives objections or even when they are rude. Instead, we keep our composure and ask calibrated questions to figure out the real reason behind their emotions. If you want to learn more about being calm, confident, and persuasive, I have created a Notion page where I recommend a few books that can help you. And if you study these books, not read them, study them, then you will gain an unfair advantage over people. Alright, let's analyze an interesting case where Chris Voss used tactical empathy to save a journalist kidnapped in Iraq. You might have heard of him. Chris wrote the book Never Split the Difference and popularized the term of tactical empathy. At that time, he was the head of the FBI International Negotiation Team. The case of Jill Carroll. In 2006, Jill Carroll was kidnapped by Sunni Muslim insurgents in Baghdad. She was on her way to interview an official when her team was ambushed. Shortly thereafter, they published a video where she is seated on the floor while 3 men are standing behind. Now, the FBI negotiation team understood that they wanted to present themselves as a legitimate authority to judge people. Another important detail was her hair. Leaving her hair uncovered violated the rules. So the negotiation team pointed out through media outlets that they disrespected her. Then her father made a video saying, "My daughter is not your enemy. She was reporting what was happening in Iraq, and if released, she would go back to reporting the sufferings of Iraqis to the world." The team coached him to basically tell the truth about why she was in Iraq and to not use predictable phrases such as, "She's innocent, leave her alone," because it might give them some kind of justification to hurt her. The team also knew it was in their culture that honor flows from the father. They saw him in the media and told her that her father is an honorable man. The team didn't know this, but at that moment, the negotiation was over. She was safe. In the next video, her view was different. She was by herself speaking to the camera, and her hair was covered. 82 days after they kidnapped her, she appeared on the streets of Baghdad, very close to the location where she was captured. She returned home, safe and sound. As you may have noticed, every step of the way the team considered why the actions made sense to them and used that information to influence them. Now, we won't have to deal with these types of situations unless we become police officers or FBI agents. But we will deal with people who are very upset, angry, or scared. And if we apply tactical empathy correctly, we will have a lot of influence over people. If you want to learn more about persuasion skills or propaganda, I have created more in-depth videos. You can find the links in the description. Thank you for watching.